Genesis 1 and the Menorah. Shalom, everybody. I am Dave, your host from Universal Truth of Mankind. Please check us out at our website, utom.org. You will see links for YouTube and Rumble for our videos, and you will also find my email. So, Genesis 1 and the Menorah is what we're going to be speaking of. I am very big on the Menorah. I have been all my life. I've studied this subject in and out, and I'm still learning. So, let's talk about Genesis 1. Genesis 1 is vastly misunderstood. And that's because we rely on translations. We don't rely on the Hebrew. Most narratives about Genesis 1 are incorrect. Now, I'm not saying that I am a super guru. Not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about those who strictly rely on the English translation to derive their theology, to derive their understanding of God and who they are and so forth. Miss the boat. You have to take a look at the Hebrew. So let's take a look at just one word in Genesis 1 that's going to change your understanding of what's going on. So we see on the menorah, which I've talked about before, there are 3 imperceivable legs on it. You can watch some of the Man in the Menorah, I think it is, or Man and Menorah. Menorah. I don't want to say menorah. Menorah. Listen to that, and you'll get a better idea. But there's 3 imperceivable legs. Why are they almost imperceivable? Why? Well, because we know they're there, but we can't fully understand them. It's not our task to understand the essence of these 3 legs and what they represent. Now, we know that those 3 legs represents 3 sephirots. We know there's a total of 10 sephirots, 10 countings. Watch previous videos and you'll hear more about that. Sephirot means counting. So there are a total of 10 attributes that the Creator impregnated that DNA into creation, into the bubble of creation. Again, watch our previous videos and you will get a better idea, starting at video 22 and forward. So, what is that word? That word is bara. Now, in the beginning of the Genesis 1, it's Bereshit. But we're not going to focus on the compound word. We're going to focus on the first word of the compound word, which is bara. Now, bara, let's understand it from the Hebrew. Let's take a look at each of the individual characters and see if we can come up with a composite understanding or concept of what bara means that's beyond a single translation in the beginning. So, the first character is Beit. Beit means a home. It's a floor plan of a tent. It's a place. It's a haven. Okay. It's a separate space from the world. It's your space. You own that space. That's your space. No one's allowed in there without your permission. That's your space. The second character is Resh. Resh represents the forehead, which represents the beginning, primary, chiefly. It can also mean reasoning. It can also give an idea of intellectual. The third and final character is Aleph. Aleph is actually represents a bull's head. So the idea is it's silent and it goes where it wants. That's a bull. No one's going to get away with a bull. They're going to say, okay, bull, it's all yours. I'm staying out of this. Your horns speak for themselves. I ain't getting near you. And what do? You stay away from that bull. So, it's a silent strength. So now let's put the 3 together. You've got a space that has a beginning of some kind of intelligence. But it's quiet, but strong. That's what bara means. So remember what I said in a previous video about the bubble of creation. bubble of creation is where the Creator vacated itself out, took part of itself and vacated itself out of it, creating a void. But that void had to be filled with something. It couldn't put itself in, because then it would be overwhelmed and become part of itself again. So it only chose 10 attributes of itself to put into creation. But the first 3 attributes, the imperceivable legs of the menorah, are not really for us to be understood, just acknowledged. We can't understand the essence of it whatsoever. So within creation was created another bubble within itself, a container, like an onion, created a ring. And then there's another bara after that, barishi bara. So it's bara bara. So we take that concept again and we find there's another layer, bubble, container, a house, so to speak, that contains this attribute within creation. Now it goes another step further. What's next after that? Elohim. It's the first name that's mentioned of the Creator. Elohim. Why is the name all of a sudden mentioned? Because Elohim represents understanding. So let's understand what these 3 things are. Okay? The first one is the will of the Creator. When Moses went to the mountain, he asked, "Who shall I say sent me?" And what did he say in the Hebrew? Yeah. In English, it's "I'll be," which is really a fault. It should be "I'll." I mean, typically it's "I am," but really it should be "I'll be." It creates itself. So I'll be which I'll be. I'll be. And that was very important for Moses to hear that, because now Moses knew he was dealing with the will of the Creator. Dealing in the sense that there's no higher source in creation. So he said, "Yes, sir. I will do exactly what you say. I have a few issues with my lisp," and so on and so forth. The second one we typically call Hashem. Now, understand, these 2 names are just concepts. That's it. They're the beginning of intellect. So one's the will, the second one is wisdom. Wisdom is something that you can't, it's there, but you can't hold it. Why? Because you need a third element called Elohim. Elohim is the attribute of understanding. So there's a will, there's wisdom, the plan, and then there is the understanding, the forces that push creation into existence. So we don't deal with those because we can't understand them. We just acknowledge. But what happens next after that? After that, there's 6 days and then the Sabbath. Total of 7 days. Now you see where the 7 are. That's the menorah. That's the top of the menorah. So what happens is Elohim now creates a language. Typically, it's 22 Hebrew characters. Every single character of the Hebrew alphabet is used within the utterances, the statements that God makes within those 7 days. which actually creates pi, interestingly enough. Now, we know that the 7 days, a day starts at night. There are people out there that say, no, it starts in the dawn. But they don't understand what they're reading because they're sticking to the English, not the Hebrew. But here's the concept. In order to have light, you must have darkness. So what we see is a darkness. We read about the bohu and tohu, formless and void. We read about that until the days are created. So there's nothing there. Darkness. Then all of a sudden, boom, there's a bright light that waxes. And then it starts waning. Just like you see in a day. The sun starts coming up, it gets brighter, brighter, brighter until noontime, and then it starts dimming down until you get to night. So each day is started with darkness, then with light, and ends in darkness. Or ends when the sun is completely down, and then the new day is started. And there's 6 of those, and then 7th, but the 6 becomes days. Days in terms of I'm trying to word this properly. Where a sephirot, an attribute, is injected into creation, into its own bubble. Then it finally gets to the 7th day. Remember, man is created an image of the Creator on the 6th day. And some may be saying, wait. You talk about the 7 and how we have the 7 within us, and that we have to balance those 7 out. And that's where we do our spiritual changing, reformation takes place. Yes, but I didn't want to overcomplicate the situation. Without the 6 being in its proper order, the 7th won't exist. The Sabbath won't exist. We have to remember the Creator created something from nothing. It's our job to create something from something. And that's when we do that, we create the 7th day. That's how that works. It's sort of like when you shoot a gun. You have a front sight, a rear sight, and they both have to be in alignment in order for the bullet to hit the target. If any of those 2 are out of whack, you're not going to hit the target. So that's the idea, is to put everything into its proper aim, and then the light can come through with the Creator. And then you will have a Sabbath with the Creator. We have to create a home, so to speak, for the Creator, but it comes within us. Not from outside of us, but within us. Many people are looking for the temple to be built. That's not the temple we're looking for. It's what's in here. This temple has to exist before the outward temple can exist. So there's the menorah for you. Right there. Right in front of you. And those 6 attributes, and the 7th, which I've said before, is really a result field. It's a result sephirot. It's a result of the other 6 being in order. Take a look at the shield of David. 6 points. Those 6 points have to be pulled into a singularity. And that will create the Sabbath. That's what that Magen David represents, or one of the representations of the Magen David, is that we are to strike that balance, pull things together. And that's the message that we get from Genesis 1, and actually part of Genesis 2. I hope this helps. I hope it enlightens you to help you understand and realize that truly, truly the menorah is within us. We have a task to do. We can't pass it off to anyone else. We can't say, hey, God, do it for me. Hey, XYZ, save me from myself and bring us to Sabbath. It doesn't work that way. We each have to do this. Eventually, we will all do this, and then socially, communally, we will do it collectively. But we got to start with ourselves. All right, I hope this has helped. I wish you all a great weekend, and be safe. Shalom, shalom.